Welcome to the Halsey and South Mundy United Methodist Church service for June 20th, 2020, with lay speaker Chuck Hall.
Hi, everybody. I really wished I could say it was nice to see you, but I can't see you. So I hope everybody's had a fine start to the summer. I'd like to thank you for joining me on this message. And let's start with today's reading. Today's reading is from Luke chapter 16, 19 through 26. Jesus said, "There was a certain rich man who was splendidly clothed in purple and fine linen, and who lived each day in luxury. At his gate lay a poor man named Lazarus, who was covered with sores. As Lazarus lay there longing for the scraps from the rich man's table, the dogs would come and lick his open sores. Finally, the poor man died and was carried by the angels to sit beside Abraham at the heavenly banquet. The rich man also died and was buried, and he went to the place of the dead. There, in torment, he saw Abraham in the far distance with Lazarus at his side. The rich man shouted, 'Father Abraham, have some pity. Send Lazarus over here to dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue. I am in anguish in these flames." But Abraham said to him, "Son, remember that during your lifetime you had everything you wanted, and Lazarus had nothing. But now he is here being comforted, and you are in anguish. And besides, there is a great chasm separating us. No one can cross over to you from here, and no one can cross over to us from there." Great story. And I know it's Father's Day, and it's been a long, long, long time since we've gotten together. And I'm sad to say that we couldn't get back together this week like we did in the parking lot last week. I kind of feel like the moms out there got cheated last month. So I think we should just go ahead and call today Parents' Day. It could be a day where we celebrate both of our parents. Perhaps we could take the time to lift up our parents or to reflect on their importance in our lives. Now, my mom's still alive, and I see her often. She has always been a special place. She's always had a special place in my heart. And I'm a self-confessed mama's boy. I'm 53 years old, but I still say it with pride. My mom can do no wrong in my book, and I delight in making her smile. Now, I know that I'm her favorite, but I have a sneaking suspicion that most of my brothers and sisters probably think that they were her favorite also. That's just how my mom is. Now, I can't believe my dad's been gone for 17 years next week. Time truly does fly. And I wish I could say that my relationship with Pops was as wonderful as my mom's, but I just can't. The truth is, for most of my time in high school and college, we barely spoke when we were together. And I was really good at finding reasons to be anywhere but with him. And I'm not joking. Work, school, sports, friends, whether they were guys or girls, and of course myself, we all came before my dad. And I thought I had good reasons for staying away. But in reality, they were minor compared to the joy of the relationship that we eventually shared. I'm so glad that I came back to work with my parents at the greenhouses. It gave me the opportunity to put my dad ahead of less important things in my life. Without that, I might not have ever truly known him. In today's reading, Jesus tells us the parable of Lazarus and the rich man. Now, we need to remember that this isn't the Lazarus who was the brother of Mary and Martha. This isn't the Lazarus who Jesus raised from the dead while he wept for him. But please remember that this Lazarus is special also. This Lazarus is the only main character in all of Jesus' parables who was given a proper name. We know Lazarus is a beggar. We know he was sick and weak. We know that he died. And we know that Jesus knew him as Lazarus. And of course, we know that his name was written in the book of life, since angels escort him to heaven. But I'd like to ask, what do we know about the rich man? Well, we know the rich man was almost certainly Jewish, since he not only knew of, but also recognized Abraham. We know that he was extremely wealthy, that he lived in luxury every day. He had a gated mansion, wore fine clothing, and wasted so much food that others dreamed of eating the scraps from his table. We can also infer that the rich man was at best arrogant. He wore robes of purple, the color of royalty, and he spoke to Abraham about Lazarus with a haughty attitude. For not knowing his name, I think we get a really good picture of who and what he was. People are like that. We can get a really good picture of someone by how they act and by what they do. But we can also identify ourselves in much the same way. Look at how I described my relationship with my mom. I'm a mama's boy. It gives you a pretty good picture of our relationship, of how we interact. We all have different ways to describe ourselves. There's lots of ways. Mother, father, sister, brother, son, daughter. How about husband or wife? Or how about teacher, police officer, fireman, maybe even greenhouse manager? You get the idea. We can have many different ways to describe ourselves, but when we get right down to it, one description will rise above them all. The rich man saw himself as a rich man. He defined himself by the power, the luxury, the influence, the servitude, and all the other trappings that his riches brought him. Jesus named him perfectly a rich man. We already looked at how the rich man acted in life, but let's look how he acted in death. Jesus tells us that he is being tormented in hell, that he is anguished by the flames. But how does the rich man try to alleviate his suffering? What is causing his anguish? Well, the obvious answer is the flames. Okay, I'll give you that. But what's causing the flames? Well, let's take a look. The rich man asked Abraham to help him. He asked Abraham to send Lazarus so that his tongue might be cooled. What? Do you notice that the rich man doesn't ask to get out of hell? He doesn't want out. Yeah, he just wants to get Lazarus in. And did you notice what he wants to relief? To give him relief from the flames? You know, I find it amazing he doesn't ask for a fire extinguisher, but instead he asks for drops of water on his tongue. And look how he acts towards Lazarus. He speaks as if Lazarus is nothing more than a slave. Are you surprised by how he acts based on his suffering? Well, we shouldn't be. Abraham tells him that he had his good things in life, but he doesn't in death. The rich man is being tormented by the longing for all the things he had in life, all the things that defined him as a person. And he no longer has these. It's not the drops of water on his tongue that will sate the flames of his heart. No, it's the servitude of someone beneath him, a Lazarus, there for eternity, applying drop after drop. This is what the man truly desires. This is what will sate his longings. C.S. Lewis wrote that hell is a room with no door, C.S. Lewis wrote that hell is a room with the door locked from the inside. I feel that he wrote it just right. The rich man didn't want to go to heaven. He wanted the good things he had in life. Jesus said that there was a great chasm separating the rich man from heaven. It might not be a door, but I can picture the rich man digging that great separation from God, one shovelful at a time, as he spent his life pursuing the thing that he desired the most, the things that defined who he was to himself. The rich man's actions really make me think back to my dad. During those dark years, I pursued the things that I desired. And I kept putting those things ahead of my dad. You know, it's weird how it felt so right while it was happening. But with hindsight, it was so wrong. Isn't it funny how we don't know what we were missing? You know, it's okay to identify yourself as a doctor, a husband, a teacher, or a mama's boy, or any other of the myriad of terms that we can use to help define ourselves. All of these things are fine, as long as they're secondary. to us defining ourselves as Christians. We don't see ourselves, if we don't see ourselves as Christians above all else, if we continue to prioritize other things before Jesus, then just like the rich man, we will construct our own personal hell, one sin and one shovelful at a time. I once heard someone say that there are two kinds of people in the world. Those who say, God, your will be done, and those to whom God tells, thy will be done. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a fantastic end to your Sunday. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching our service. Please make sure you subscribe and hit the bell notification so you don't miss out on future videos. Comments and thumbs up are much appreciated. And if you have not checked out our church website, please take a look at the description for this video for links on how you can support our ministry.